Hey guys, welcome to Market Movers, the podcast that will tell you the story of the most interesting people, the most interesting trading platforms. And today we're hosting Dani Magner, the Chief Product Officer of Plus 500. Hello, Dani.
Hi, Ophir. Nice to be here. And hi, Dor.
And of course, hello, Dor Eligula, our Chief Business Officer and co-founder of Bridgeise.
Always sounds so big, but pleasure to be here as
It's
always.
huge, man. It's huge, guys, both of you. About the role in the industry that you're working right now. If you want to tell something about Plus 500, we would love to hear it.
Sure. So I've been with Plus 500 for over 8.5 years now, almost 9. It's actually my first job out of university. So real first job after I graduated from Technion in
Of
2000.
course, Technion.
Technion in Haifa.
Yeah.
We're a Haifa-based company.
Yes.
So when I graduated, I had 3 job offers from 3 different companies and in 3 different sectors. And eventually the reason that I chose Plus 500 was not because of the industry. It was not about the sector. It was mostly about the people.
Wow.
So I never thought that I would be in fintech. It's kind of a surprise to me as well, but that's the way things happen.
That's amazing.
Can I ask what was the degree in the Technion?
Yeah, I did electrical engineering, which with a focus on computer engineering. So I was pretty sure that I'll be coding all day.
Yeah.
But I was approached by the chief operating officer of Plus 500, who also studied in the Technion a few years ahead of me. And he told me that he's looking for basically a deputy to help him out to build the operations department. And back then it was not about product. It was all about automating the operations department, structuring it, building it. And based off that, I kind of got into product without even intending to.
Wow, that's amazing.
In the end of the day, I think like good businessmen, of course, are always in our field, in tech, and especially in fintech, we have to get, again, a good understanding of product. So I can understand why, again, a good business unit always blends with the product, and hence we
Sure.
are.
So, okay, let's start. So, as the market is growing and very fast, and everything started to be very competitive, how you guys, try to be different?
So I think that before we speak about the future, maybe it's important to understand how Plus 500 really came to be and what made it the market leader it is to this day. We just recently published our financial reports for 2003. The company ended with a resounding success,
Yes.
generating more than $720 million in revenue. And almost half of that is in EBITDA, so it's in profits after you deduct everything. So the company was founded in 2009, and back then I was not part of the company. So I'm not taking credit for any of what I'm about to say. I'm just telling things how they...
Stating facts.
I'm just stating facts, and the founders of the company who were also not by chance Technion graduates. I think they made 3 very innovative decisions, or they based Plus 500 on 3 very innovative pillars based compared to that time. So the first one was making a trading platform which is very intuitive, making it very understandable. I'm not saying easy, because easy, when you speak about trading, it's kind of a double-edged sword.
Yeah,
You don't
exactly.
really want to be easy because you want to be, I think you want to be understandable.
It's not always the best for the clients to be easy.
Correct. So you want clients to understand what they're doing. You want the platform to be accessible and approachable. So that's the first thing they did. They said, let's build a platform that the average Joe can short a stock with. Okay, can short a stock using this platform. Efficiently, easily, or not easily, but really accessibly and intuitively. So that's the first thing. The second thing that was very innovative back in the day, and we're talking about 2009, is having a financial product which is advertised online. And if you go 14, 15 years back, advertising on Google was not a thing. Okay, financial institutions, banks, there was no such a thing, fintech, or is not a thing yet, but the advertisement was mostly offline. It was video campaigns,
Very
it was
traditional.
billboards, very traditional. Nobody did really Google ads, and nobody tried to measure it. So Plus 500 was able to capitalize on that new technology, building a lot of it internally and capturing a very big market segment. The third thing is the company was founded by engineers, right? So I think one of the third pillar was a very high degree of operational automation. So things that other companies did using 20 or 30 or 40 people were done by an algorithm in plus 500. And so very few people were able to do a lot of things. So the company, even while it was still in growing phases, it was able to be extremely profitable by reducing the cost of labor and the cost of people that are maintaining this operation. So I think this is what made plus 500 what it is today. So I was not answering your question yet. You asked about the future.
Just let me add one point on that. I think the third pillar you mentioned, there are at least not now, or especially not in 2009, not a lot of Israeli tech companies managed to do there are a lot of us can do the 0 to 1, and then doing the 1 to 10, the scale up, okay, is the hard thing, especially back then for Israeli companies. And being able to do, again, a lot in a scalable way, which again was mentioned in the third pillar you mentioned, I think that is really different, especially given the time perspective from 2009 to date. So
definitely, and that's probably the main thing that I was focused on during my first 4 years in the company. I was in charge of that part of our product, of maintaining everything working efficiently, streamlining everything. So I was almost not handling anything that the customer is facing. Nothing. I wasn't handling the tip of the iceberg, just what's underneath. So it was a very back office type of product management, managing everything that the customer doesn't necessarily see, but allows the company to be very successful.
To scale up.
To scale up, exactly.
Amazing.
So if we're discussing the future of the market and how companies try to differ, here's the truth. I think that most of the things that could have been developed were already developed by most of the companies. So the products in many ways are very much equal. It's almost the stage where you look at sneakers and you say, it's shoes, everyone has the same materials, everyone has the same things. It's all about branding, and it's all about the preference of your specific clients. So I think that now most of the trading platforms are trying to fit the customer's needs, but they're also trying to capture more segments of the market because the market is still growing. There's still plenty of room for expansion. So the market is competitive, yes, but there's a lot of new markets or a lot of new audience that you can unlock. So there's a very big marketing competition. And also there's a very big competition of making sure that the product fits what the customers want. So if customers want to trade specific products, we want to give it to them. If the customers, they use the app on a mobile device, so we must make sure it's convenient. So for example, we would develop the dark mode. What's a dark mode? What does it have to do with trading? Nothing. But it's just something that makes your platform more accessible, more friendly, and customers would stick with the platform that they feel is understandable.
And the most native for their preferences.
Exactly. Exactly. Well put.
That leads me to the next question. So you say it will be difficult for trading platforms to differ from a product perspective because, of course, you'll put any effort that you have and you'll put a lot of resources, but the marginal effect will be limited. So I think everyone knows that in the last few years, one of the key differentiators from trading platforms was the business model. So I think one of the most known phenomenons in the trading platform is the Robinhood model, the zero fees. Again, in general, it's the discount brokers, but again, Robinhood took it to the extreme by offering zero commission trading. How do you think it's viable? And look, how do you think? What's your opinion about this?
It makes me smile. The question makes me smile. And well, zero commissions. The short answer is no. I don't think it's viable. That's the short answer. The longer answer is that companies need to get compensated somehow. Companies need to earn money. Otherwise, it's not a viable business model. So a company could burn through investors' money but that's a bad thing. That's
through
not.
like equity investment or yeah, I understand.
I mean, if someone sells a dream, and investors put money and you just grow the company by and make no money on your side, then you're just burning
the
through
unit
investor money.
economics doesn't make sense.
Exactly, the unique, yeah. And recently we saw a lot of these dreams collapse.
Yeah.
So I think the market is much more realistic and fair now. So, but that's just one part of it. So the other part is that if we understand that companies do need to get compensated somehow, you must wonder how they do that if they offer zero commission. So
Yeah.
there's surely something else to it. And we know the answers. It's not secret. So there's two things that could happen here. And that reminds me of the saying that, if the product is free, you are the product,
Yeah.
So you need to think about it. So either the company gets compensated by taking your information and doing something with it, or selling the payment per order flow, which is what Robinhood does. And this is a practice that is allowed in some places around the world, like the United States, but in others, regulators forbid that because they say that it's not in the client's best interest. So Robinhood intended to enter the UK market, but they canceled it because the UK regulators won't permit this business model. So I'm asking you, is that a viable business model if this is what you're basing on?
I think I totally understand what you say, and I would, of course, I'll not again say it's not viable because I have some interest. We have clients from both parts, both who charge fees and those who do not. So for us, both are viable. But what I would add is it also had a good effect. The zero commissions and the very, that they took accessibility to the extreme. Everyone can just open an account and, with $10, just start trading. It also had a good effect by, also, of course, plus 500 had a big contribution to it, but especially I think Robinhood, and again, those kind of firms, what they did is they made trading and investments in general very accessible in a way that, again, anyone can just take an app.
Well, I agree with you partially.
For free.
For free, right.
And the free has some effect, psychological effect on the clients.
So there's a couple of ways to address that. First of all, there's a very good thing in terms of growing the entire industry. So on one side, we need to be thankful for those companies for increasing the market because someone who starts trading with Robinhood may, switch to plus 500 to trade more sophisticated products after he understands some of the basics of trading, which with Robinhood,
unless they're losing a lot of money.
Unless they're losing, unless they're losing a lot of money.
I have a question on that, but okay.
We'll get to that. But on the other side, it also makes a lot of regulators to wonder, is trading for everyone and isn't it too accessible? So this is also a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
It could go both ways. I think we don't want to ignore that. It's happening. And I think in general, the trend is good. I think it is beneficial for the entire community. But I think those companies as well would need to adjust their business models to create revenue somehow. If you're, as I said, if you're making trading commission free, then you have to make money some other way. And I think that people, audiences and customers are smart enough to understand that. Like, think about mobile games, the freemium model, right? You download the game, it's not really free. You know that if you want to get the additional value of it, you'll need to pay some money on that game.
Or you'll spend a lot of time in looking at advertisements.
Exactly. So, right. So people get that. And they get that if this is free, there's something else.
Yeah. I would add that, again, I guess I'd state partially obvious is stating that, again, a big part of especially product and any software company is the lifetime value of its clients. And I want to go deeper to, I guess, the metrics that you guys are measuring while, again, taking, of course, the existing products into some measurements, and also, again, taking into consideration some new features that you may develop. So I wanted to ask regarding lifetime value. A big part of it is, again, if the client is successful in trading or in investments, they'll stay, most probably. How do you look at it from, again, do you take into account helping your clients in being successful investors or traders, or you just say, okay, I'm a trading platform, I'm the platform, either they're successful or not, it's their, their responsibility.
Yeah. So in general, we're not allowed to give customers any advice, and that's per regulation. So we're not giving customers any advice on what to trade or how to trade. However, we do want customers to be successful because, as you said, customers that on the long run are successful, they are more likely to stick with you for the longer run. So
and bring friends,
bring friends, recommend it,
Exactly.
word of mouth. Absolutely. So we're trying to do few things. First of all, I mentioned that, but I would mention it again. We're trying to be very understandable and clear and transparent. If you earn money, that's great. If you lose money, you clearly know why. You clearly understand what happened in the market, and you have no claims to the platform, or you don't think that anything wrong has happened. It's just the market moved against you, and perhaps you can learn from that and devise your strategy in a different way the next time you trade. So we offer customers a free demo account. And demo account is like paper money, paper trading. So you can practice as much as you want. It's unlimited. And you can try different strategies. You can add funds, you can remove funds, you can trade different things. And that's one thing. The other thing is that we're now also making accessible to a broader audience a new feature that's called Plus Insights. And it also allows you to see what are the trading results of other customers across our entire community. So it's one thing if you lost money, but it's another thing if everyone around you lost money because the markets collapsed and everyone
Genius.
took it. Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really smart because the pain that you only feel, it's different between like a group of people that have some pain.
Absolutely. I mean, we have so many people trading on our platform, hundreds of thousands of active clients, and we have millions of data points. So we just realized that we'll make all of that information accessible to the people. We have this information. Every broker knows what's happening on their platform, and we're saying it's transparent. Let's give our traders that same exact access so they could look what other customers are trading, where they're making money, where they're losing money.
Yeah, it's the power of the community.
And that connects to the first question on the differentiation. I think the ability to provide, I'd say, added tools, either developed inside, and I have a question about it, either developed internally, in-house, or acquired in partnerships, etc., with other, I guess, firms, either traditional ones or fintechs, has some value, either in differentiation and, of course, in the customer satisfaction at the end of the day. I think, again, being a platform, you want to be the one-stop shop as much as possible for the clients to make their whole, again, trading or investment experience.
I could argue that.
Okay.
I could argue that. I'm not sure you want to be the one-stop shop. So being the one-stop shop, it's the obvious, that's what you would expect me to say. I want everyone to do everything with plus 500. But then you might risk losing focus over your core product. So you can't be the best platform, the most, delivering the best and crisp experience, but also being an expert in market research. So if you do both, you risk losing focus.
Exactly led me to the question I wanted to ask. So there you have partnerships. Again, of course, I'm saying it from the Bridgeise interest in from our world, having some partnerships and relationships with global trading platforms and banks, etc. I totally agree that you need to focus. By the way, it's a problem of ours as well. We always want to be, the number one
in everything,
all in one, a research firm. But then you have to focus, and you say, okay, what do I have on my pipeline in order to, grow the business? So how do you see yourself, again, as a leader in a big firm, working with, not specifically, of course, Bridgeise, but with fintechs and other companies? Like, how do you measure, of course, good products that you want to add in? Because I guess you have embedded some or integrated with some third parties softwares or solutions. And how do you evaluate the companies you work with while doing it?
That's a fantastic question. And that's one part of my job that I enjoy the most. I love engaging with companies and speaking with people and meeting teams.
That's why we are here.
Yeah. So I think there's two very important components. or two very important factors. The first one is what is your need. Sometimes there's so much things in the market, but that's not necessarily what you need for your platform. I'm
you
not
need as plus.
as plus 500,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I'm not going to be Yahoo Finance. I'm just not going to be Yahoo Finance. There's no way of me doing that. So companies may offer a lot of data or features that Yahoo Finance has, and they would, offer this service to me. Integrate this, and you'll get everything that Yahoo Finance has. I'm not sure I want to do that. I'm not sure I want to spend all of that time integrating all this information, maintaining it on my side, in order to compete with Yahoo Finance when I know that Yahoo Finance is so much bigger than I am. And if people really want to do their market research with Yahoo Finance, they'll go to Yahoo Finance. They won't go. So I need to pinpoint what is the exact thing that I need that I think would give me the value that my customers need or
And to
want.
what level I do it. Like,
Exactly.
where do I stop and how I do it.
Right. So I would look at what's my exact need, and I would try to find a company that gives me exactly what I need. And if there's a lot of companies doing that, then it's not unique. Okay. If there's a lot of companies doing the same thing, you're not special. Think about it in this way as well.
Yeah.
So one example that I could give, and that's also relating to the second factor that I mentioned earlier, but still haven't explicitly stated, and that's the people you work with. So the most important thing is seeing the people, speaking with them, and understanding what they have. And we had the pleasure of being the first customers of more than one company in the fintech sector. One company had a solution that we felt is not exactly what we need, but it could be exactly what we're looking for. And that was a few years ago, and it's a German company based in Frankfurt. And we wanted some ability to create thematic indices added to our platform. We saw that there's a lot of interest in the market in trading things that are not currently traded on stock exchanges. And let me give you
as products.
as products. And one very good example for that is cannabis. So a few years ago, there was a huge market buzz around cannabis because there were a lot of legislation going on around the world, making cannabis-focused companies soar. But people didn't really know which company to trade. There's so many companies, they're relatively small cap, and so they wanted to just trade or invest in the trend of cannabis. And so we were looking for a way to create an index that would encapsulate the leading cannabis stocks. And that's how we approached this company. So it was not their product, but we told them, let's try to do that together because we believe that based on what you do, you could do that. And it became a resounding success.
But that's I'm happy for them and of course for you. But that's also a risk for a company. Again, we're not. Again, a startup is a big, of course, word. There are multi-billion companies that still define themselves as startups. But working with the industry giant like you guys, having your idea embedded on a startup can be again a double-headed sword. Because of course, if it leads to success, everyone is happy. But if that leads to a failure, which can happen,
From the startup side?
from the startup side, may take a lot of resources from them to your idea, although the market, you understand what I'm saying.
I understand, but I mean...
That's a risk they take, of course.
That's a risk. I'm not a startup founder,
Yeah.
so I can't really relate to that. But as an executive in a fairly large company, that's what I'm looking for. And I'm also trying to give
for the agility from the fintech.
Exactly. And I'm the agility and looking at their technology. And I think if it works, they will replicate this success with other companies. And that's fine because if you haven't bought them or if you don't have any exclusivity contract with them, that's fine. That's fair play. They develop something for you. They get to say we're working with Plus 500 or with the company, and both parties benefit.
Yeah, and that I agree, of course.
What are the metrics that you guys evaluate, and how you guys do it?
So we measure a few things. I don't think we're special in that regard compared with other companies, but customer acquisition is one thing. Customer conversion, how many people from the people who have downloaded your app have actually started trading with real money.
Acquisition is more on the marketing side, I guess.
It's more on the marketing side, but it's also a product thing because what's acquiring a customer? Where does the limit?
Yeah, that's
or the
that's
border.
an internal definition. I
Right,
guess.
it's an internal definition, but your product also serves the acquisition as the acquisition serves the product.
Yeah, of course.
And so the product needs to be adjusted with, I mean, your marketing needs to be aligned with your product, and your product needs to be aligned with the marketing.
Yeah,
Because
the
if you
onboarding process and everything.
right, if you market something which isn't your product, it's going to be of no use, and vice versa.
You may convert the client, but then they will churn really quickly if they didn't find the value they look for.
If they convert in the first place, I mean, once they start exploring the app and they understand this is not what I intended to do, or this is not what I want, they will leave.
Exactly.
So conversion and acquisition is very important, but also lifetime value of the clients. So we discussed this earlier. We want customers to stick with us for as long as possible. So we'll be trying to assist them through their journey. We'll be trying to introduce new features that we've added based on their requests. We will be trying to showcase market opportunities that may arise.
That will help them in being successful traders and investors.
Absolutely. And another thing which is very important is customer support. That's also very important to make sure that your customers stick with you for the long run. And different markets require different customer support.
So you discussed you mentioned just now, you mentioned like customer requests. So I guess you have the technical way to again understand the request either directly or indirectly. But again, you got the firm as a global one.
Yep.
Big one. It's not a local, laser focused in terms of,
we
specific market.
We operate in more than 60 countries.
So that speaks for itself. So how do you guys, again, because let's say the US, you are now active in the US in the last couple of months, I think. A US, like an American client, has a specific need that maybe, an Australian client or a UK-based client has a different need. How do you guys look at it from a global perspective? Because in the end of the day, everyone, even you guys, have limited resources, and bigger, wishes, especially from the business and marketing teams. How do you, manage that in terms of the, again, global point of view?
That's a great question, because this is my focus over the next period, the near future. I would admit that Plus 500 for a very long time offered exactly the same product and same experience pretty much everywhere we operated, with the exception of adjusting to regulatory demands, because the regulation differs in different places. We have more than 10 licenses around the world.
I know it.
You know
I
that.
know it, yeah.
Everyone knows that. So we had to adjust to the regulation. But apart from that, the core product was pretty much the same. And I think one of the things that have changed recently is that we came to the conclusion that the product needs to be localized. And by the way, we support more than 30 languages. So this we did for a very long time. But it's not just about translating your product, it's about localizing your product.
It's way beyond the language.
Yeah, exactly. And so first, the language needs to be not just transliterate or just translate it as it is, but you need to convey the meaning and use the terms that are acceptable in a certain place.
To think in that, like to think as a local.
As a local, yeah.
As a local, and I have an example. I have a lot of examples, but in some places in the world, your ID card is your bank card. So you don't want to accept things like that. They're very small things. So you need to be very careful with what you write. If you're asking someone for their national ID, in English it sounds okay, but in Hebrew you say Teudat Zeut, which is the thing, right? Teudat Zeut, that's the name. It's not Teuda Leumit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? The translation is not the same. You need to use the exact term specific to that country. But that's just one example. The product is different. In some places of the world, people want a platform they can interact with and they want to be left alone. Israel is one example to that. Israeli customers don't want anyone bothering them.
Yeah.
They hate calling. We all know that you don't want to call your cable company. You don't want to call your bank.
Yeah.
Just let me do everything online. If I need anything, let me contact you by WhatsApp or by chat. That's it. I don't want to speak with anyone. Other places in the world, you need that personal touch. You need that personal contact. So they need a phone they can pick up or dial and speak with someone. So we're also adjusting our customer service to be localized. And we're also integrating a lot of local features. For example, payment methods. Okay, so different countries have other different popular payment methods. It's not just Visa and MasterCard and PayPal all around the world. There's a lot of local things. In the Netherlands, there's something, and in Germany, there's something else. And in Singapore, you have a thing called Pay Now, which is a kind of a shortcut for a wire transfer. So we want to make sure that customers from different countries feel as if the product was exactly designed for
them.
Exactly,
like
for them.
as if there are laser focused geography based product team. I can tell you from our perspective, it's challenging. We are now active in 7 countries. From a client perspective, of course, regulation and jurisdictions, it's hard. I wouldn't say hard. It's not easy, but having the interest from different sales teams, different marketing teams, it's not easy. And of course, the product team of ours is doing a great job in taking everything into consideration. It's not easy, and the appetite. I want to discuss specifically the appetite to, for example, again, you spoke about educational resources within the platform. So again, maybe we Israelis may tend to be a bit cynical about external help, because we always think we are the smartest. But like, how do you see the different audiences, need for example, educational resources within the app?
Definitely different. People want different things. One thing that is common for everyone, and that's a product focus, is if you make your product understandable, then there's less to educate. You don't need to explain to people, this button does this or this feature does that. If everything is very well explained in the app with the proper either tooltips or context pop-ups or just the screen design that kind of delivers and conveys the message, right? So the more clear your product is, the less you need to educate on your platform. Now, having said that, there are huge differences. Some audiences would like to see videos, and some other countries that I'm not going to disclose, they actually prefer a PDF file. They just want to read through the things, and the more content, the more text you provide to them, the happier they are.
I know it. Because we are textual, again, a big differentiator for us is the text that we provide on the research, and it's very different. I understand. Yeah.
So I guess it's important to measure this in the context of the market that you're acting, and that's part of the job. You need to look at different features and see the adoption rate in different markets and make the right conclusions.
We discussed the different markets. Do you see the product requests are changing also when from the market market conditions? 2022 was a challenging year for everyone, both the retail investors and of course everyone took a hit, and 2023 was way better. Do you see the difference or any difference from a product perspective, given the actual market performance?
No. This may come off as a surprise, but no. I think that the customers' requests they keep the same trend, and they are not really affected by market events. Customer may want to trade different instruments or product that you offer or don't, and they may ask for those. But apart from that, it's pretty consistent. And I actually read every customer suggestion that we get. So we get a lot of them. But and this is a daily routine for me. Wow. I read all of them. We're not addressing all of them, but sure. This is very important for me to get the perception of what customers want. And when I get that, I try to classify those. Of course, I'm not doing this on my own. Right? I have a team, but I personally read every suggestion. I do personally read every suggestion. And some of the things we're saying, oh, that's fine that customers ask for that, but we're not going to do that. This is not our focus. I keep mentioning this word focus because it's really important in our
It's prioritization in the end of the day.
exactly, and in our culture, in our product culture, to be focused. So I'm saying we're not going to do that. The other stuff, I'm trying to see how recurring they are, and I'm trying to understand if we can address that or not. And what I'm seeing, that the requests are almost independent from the market performance. Now, you may wonder why. So I see that the requests that we're getting from customers, from the most part, are independent from the market conditions. And you may wonder why. I wonder too, but I have an educated guess to make. I think that customers see Plus 500 as their gateway to the markets. And that's a good thing for us, because we're not saying we are not the markets. If you're making money or losing money, it's not on the platform, it's on you. You are the one making the decisions, but we want to be the best possible platform to allow you to perform whatever it is that you want to perform in the markets. So most of the product requests that we get are related to the platform itself. I need this tool, I want this feature, I'm missing that. There may be some kind of a bug that we want to fix, but that's what we're getting. It's almost not related to market performance.
There's always the tense between, again, being the platform. I think it's a bit of repetitive, but I'll ask you from a different angle. There is always some tension between being the platform, I'm here, and being, again, your, not of course co-pilot, but being assisting as much as possible to the customer success from a performance perspective in the end of the day. So I guess, again, understanding what you said, you look at yourself more as the platform than actually assisting them with, I guess, not of course making decisions for them, but decision support tools, etc.
We want to make people aware of how to manage risks.
Educated. Yeah.
Mhm.
Educated. And some of the features that we have recently launched are intended specifically for that goal, to make sure customers are aware of the risk management features that we offer. So if you're trading and you're not using stop orders to cut your losses, we would try to highlight this fact to you. You're not using stop orders that may cut your losses. And we recently launched another feature that also gives you a rank, gives you a sort of a score on how many risk management features you're using, because we do want to encourage people to use as much risk management tools as possible, because on the long run, this would make customers more hopefully successful, and they would stick with the platform, with the product for a longer
Lifetime
period.
value
Exactly.
at the end of the day.
Yeah. And you also provide any education resources or something that you guys, doing with the marketing?
We've recently launched the Plus 500 Trading Academy, which is a section that is available both on our website and on our platform, that takes all of our educational materials and puts them under one roof. So there's some videos, there's some articles, there's some frequently asked questions, and lately we've added also webinars that customers can join and watch. And we're trying to put as much as we can there, but also realistically speaking, if we're talking about market research, I think there's plenty of options in the market, and we're not trying to be that company that has everything in one place, because otherwise you would lose focus. So we're trying to give you the focused education on our platform. We want to give you the highlights of what's happening in the market to keep you oriented. But that, as far as we go right now.
You mentioned a lot of activities that you guys do, and at the end of the day, again, as an entrepreneur, I know that the product is everything. The product serves marketing. The product, of course, serves sales, and the product, is in touch, of course, with R&D. The product is the center. You're a technology company, and the product is everything. So there are two ways to manage it. There are the centric way. The product. I have one line and I lead it, or is the more distributed way to manage it, working with, of course, global teams, and I guess again having a global business presence, you have to do it globally, and like how much of the your consideration on the new product features, etc., because it's your decision in the end of the day, is also affected by the other stakeholders. I guess the marketing senior executives, and the rest of the departments.
it's affected dramatically. So everyone, all of our chief officers and senior managers are essentially product managers in their own field. And that's the way you would expect it to be. Because as you said, product is everything and everything is product. So the boundaries, they're very liquid. And as I've mentioned, I came from the operations department. I was doing operations, product operations, way before I did the entire product for the company. And so our marketing department has their own products and own proprietary technology that, if you recall, I mentioned that earlier as one of the pillars upon which Plus 500 was founded. So the product that serves the marketing is a product that to this day the marketing department leads. And within the operations department, there's so many considerations regarding the payment methods, regarding the vendors that we use, regarding banks we work with. That's all also part of the product. So for sure, it's affected very much. I think that as the product department, we take the lead in terms of what the customers are seeing, in terms of what the customers are facing. But realistically, this is just the tip of the iceberg. So there's a lot more to it, and this is being handled across multiple stakeholders within the company.
Guys, last question. Can you believe it?
No.
I mean, no, me too. So, the $1 million question.
The $1 billion
The
question.
$1 billion question. So, how do you see the future of the industry? What are the future trends? What do you think?
I want to tell Ion for.
Goodbye.
I don't know, guys. It's a tough question. Tough question. No strict answer. Let's.
sure.
I think plus
Let me
500.
think about it for a second.
In the meantime, I think plus 500. We can learn how plus 500 sees the future. I think plus 500 is one of the only public companies in the industry. Of course, we have them. We have some others, but I think it's we can count them on one hand. So we can maybe look at their investor presentation and learn from it. But what I would say, I think it depends on letting you think in the meanwhile. From our perspective, again, getting to know trading platforms that are from different that are very varied, I would say, from both global ones like you guys, and of course some local ones. Some are very big, but local. Everyone would look at the future different, I guess, and also depends on the strategy of the company, of the actual trading platform and the firm. In some way I agree with some of the parts that you mentioned regarding the fees and regarding how to manage the product, but I think in the end of the day, of course, we'll have to make some assumptions while building our companies and products to the future, but the future will dictate to us more than we can predict it. It's a very the nice thing is it's a rapidly growing industry. That's the nice thing. The market is still, I think, in the beginning of its fulfilling and taking the potential in terms of course the business size. The more people are getting to the world and the more markets are involved in the capital markets in general, that's better for all of us, both commercially and of course I think from also product perspective. The more unique audiences are getting exposure to the markets and to products like Plus 500, therefore also Bridgeise through our clients and partners, the better we are and the more educated we are in building our companies and products to the future. I can tell you again, 2 years ago we were active in 2 geographies only, now active in 7. It becomes easier for us at least to predict the future, getting a bigger and bigger perspective. So again, it's not, I didn't make any guess or on the future still, but the educated guess or for me would be that the industry will keep on growing massively, and there will I will not agree that there will be some abilities to differentiate in terms of products. I think of course we'll need to be very creative and to think outside the box. Again, that's cliches, but there is some significant room to differ from a product perspective, not only from a business zero commissions way. That's my
If you want to ask me the question again, I may come up with a new answer.
Okay,
And we'll cut the
and
previous
you'll
one.
you'll take me.
And we'll
Yeah.
cut the thing where I started, where I removed my
good.
headphones and started speaking,
We
start
will
cursing in
like
Hebrew.
this. So, Dani, the billion-dollar question again. How do you see the future? Like the industry future and also the future trends?
Okay, so the future, any attempt to predict the future always ends up looking silly when you review this video 10 years from now.
Absolutely.
But so I'll just take a guess. I'm not trying to predict anything. I'm not trying to,
You're not a prophet.
I'm not a prophet, not trying to be prophecies for, for the stupid, as they say.
Yeah.
But I'll try to take a guess. So I think that the market will continue growing in the sense that new audiences would be exposed to trading and will start trading. The younger generation is already, they are familiar with trading, and the more traditional generation of traders starts using technology. And so it's both the audience and the product types that are being traded. So Plus 500 is focused so far mostly on leveraged products, on contracts for difference. And what we're doing in the United States is entirely new. We're getting into an entirely new industry
For you guys.
for us. And could even claim that we're doing something which is the first of its kind in the world, because we're making futures trading accessible with the same ease as Robinhood offers stocks, or as
Wow.
Plus 500 offers contracts for difference. And there's no other platform that does what we offer now in the United States. So it's a kind of a blue ocean
In terms of the
territory.
product suite, the product instrument suite.
Exactly. So we now offer a platform where you can open your account, fund it, and trade futures all with the same platform. And this looks almost trivial when we talk about stocks, but not in the futures market, which is very traditional. The boundaries, because of the market mechanics, because of regulation, are much more complex. So this is just the first step. That's our foot in the door. And I'm not allowed to disclose any numbers.
You can,
because
but after we
yeah,
Close the
I'm joking.
microphones.
Public company can't really disclose,
Yeah.
but I can say that we're very confident with this direction and doing something new. So other segments of the market are still remained unexplored, and there's parts of the world that are still unexposed to digital and online trading, and there's also product types that are still not accessible as stock trading or as futures that we're now trying to make accessible in the United States.
Amazing.
All right. We have an answer.
Yep.
So, guys, Dani, thank you so much. Dor, thank you. It was such a pleasure to sit here and just listen to, I think we're going to hear this conversation and learn so much from both of you. So thank you so much for being here today. And thank you, guys. And we'll see you in the next episodes.